What are the companies one should avoid? Number one, anybody with whom one feels not nourished, not inspired, not worth, not fulfilling, not lively. This is the company one must avoid. Even for a fraction of a second, one shouldn't live with that. Number one. Number two, if there is a compulsion, because in society there are many compulsions one has to follow, and it is very difficult to avoid. And if it is a compulsion, you have to live with it. Then follow the Vedic example, that in this scenario, one should live like a tortoise. Like when tortoise, it shrinks all limbs under the shell. Every tortoise has. And one is protected. So that means that is a kavach, that is a shield. And shield of what? Shield of that strong thought, that not negative thought, not negative impulse, not negative vibrations, touches you on the least test level. Number three, one should try to evolve the consciousness to that infinity. That infinity where no duality dwells. And there is not absolute two-ness. There's only even not oneness. It is that existence which is called not two, Advaitam. Shivam Shantam Advaitam Chaturtham Manante Sa Atma Suvekeya. So one should live to that level of energy, that level of soul, which is complete. But it is when it is unified with more completeness, that totality, that eternity, then that is what is called Brahma. When small self, the Swa, the Chetana, the consciousness of self, it becomes aligned with that consciousness, which is the totality, which is eternal totality, which is absolute nothingness, but having potential of everythingness. Because everything emerges from that totality, which is nothingness, but having the potential of everythingness. And that is Advaita, that is which is not two. It means it can't be said that that is one. Because when we talk of singularity, then the possibility of plurality happens. But here, the thing is that is called Advaita, which is not two. It means it can't be singular, it can't be plural, it can't be quantified. So when it can't be quantified, then what remains? Eternity remains. That absolute nothingness remains, and that nothingness which has the potential of everythingness, that's the Shanta, that is peace, that is absolute level, and that is Shantam, Advaitam, Chaturtham Manati, that is considered as fourth. That is Turiya Avastha, that is transcendental level. So when this is the ultimate level, this is the third way. If we become in alliance with that totality, with that infinity, then all the duality and the effect of duality, it vanishes. Because till we consider somebody else as other, then it hurts. Huh? It affects you positively or negatively. But when consciousness expands to infinity, then what happens? That it's simply everything becomes you, your own self, your own extension. Everything becomes the part of the self. And when one starts owning everything, then there is no duality remains there now. So when it is only you, then how you can affect yourself negatively? How the negative thought of yourself can affect you negatively? Because it is only you. So when that totality happens, when that alignment happens, then what happens? One starts expanding to the infinity. And that infinity which enfolds everything, every totality, and every part of this universe. So that is the third part. When yoga-sthapatyaVed, when one starts working with absolute alignment with that totality, then what happens? Maya-dhyakshe prakriti suyate satarachara. So whatever one desires, whatever one thinks, whatever one wishes for, it is completed spontaneously. Because then, yogastha karmani, because you are working with the alignment of that, then what happens? Yati nam brahma bhavati sarati. Then that God, that unity, that totality itself starts functioning as the charity. You simply have to sit, you simply have to become being in the life. Then what happens? Then all this action converts into being, and what happens? Whatever one desires, whatever one thinks of, and it is something very paradoxical that when you have the capacity to own anything, then the desire to own everything merges, disappears. And this is something wonderful, because when you own everything, then what to achieve? Who will achieve? And what is the thing which is achieved? Because the achiever and the process of achievement and all objects and subjects which are to be achieved, that is one. So there is no journey, there is no journey, there is no path. It is pathless path. It is the journey starts and completes without a single moment. This is something interesting. That you reach the goal without stepping out a single step from the origin point. Because origin point is the destination itself also. Because origin and destination, the point is the same. So that's why wherever you are, wherever Kasturi Kundarakse, because everything is connected through the self one possesses, and it is unified with that totality which owns everything. So when one goes beyond self and starts getting unification with that totality, then one becomes the totality. So this is the third way. Then nobody can hurt you, nobody can touch you, nobody can harm you. You become invincible. Because now duality, dilemma, partiality, differentiation, quantifying things as a separate phenomena, everything merges into that totality, that unified. then one starts dwelling in that unity, in unified field, in totality, that Parabrahma, then one becomes Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. Raso Vaisa Appadipo Bhava. Know thyself. By knowing thyself, one becomes thyself. By knowing that self, one becomes that totality, that bigger self, which owns, which operates, which vanishes everything within its own self. So this is the third way, and this is the ultimate way. When you are attached, aligned with that totality, then you start owning the totality. So when you are the observer, you are the observed, you are the process of observer, and that is samhita level, that is the totality, that is unity level. So when one is established in that level of consciousness, then something wonderful happens. Then eternal bliss, living in absolute alliance with natural law, and that is absolute Ram Raj. The definition of Ram Raj is that rain, clouds were raining whenever it is desired. So every cow was giving milk whenever you want. So it means all natural laws, they start functioning in your favor. And actually, it is not a favor. It is again another natural law that because you live life absolutely innocently, absolutely in the possession, ownership, command of that totality, then you become the totality. There is no duality in your kid who is taking care of you, or the process of the mechanism which is taking care of you. You become the totality. Then something wonderful happens. Then one starts owning the universe, and one goes beyond duality. And that samhita level, that unified level, that is a level of samadhi. Then one lives life absolutely totality, in totality, with totality, along with totality, and that is called unified field, Turiyavastha, field of all possibility. Then Aham Brahmasmi, one knows the self, which is nothing but the reflection and part of the whole, that unified field, that ultimately Brahma. So then one becomes Brahma, one becomes totality. So this is the third way. And then this is the best way, and one goes beyond relativity. So when one goes beyond relativity, then you become the universe, one becomes the universe, one becomes everything which can be possessed, which the process in which one possesses thing, and the object which is possessed. So when one is established in that absoluteness, that absolute totality, then this wonderful miracle or beautiful, lovely thing happens, that you start dwelling with the totality. No doer, not the process of doing, nor the object for which all these things are going to happen, or to start doing something or being something like that. So this is the ultimate third way, and that is the ultimate way, that is the best way. Then what happens? One is absolutely aligned with that totality. Then everything starts happening spontaneously. Like in Ramraj, it is described that in Ramraj, whenever you wanted milk, cows were giving milk. Whenever one wants rain, then cloud starts giving you rain. So because जो इच्छा करे हुआ नहीं, प्रभु पिता कुछ बेलर नहीं. This is the state of consciousness when everybody is absolutely aligned with that totality. So whatever totality requires is available in your body, or if not in your body, partly in your refrigerator, and then timely it starts happening. You take help of the common science, you take help of your fridge, whatever is there in the fridge, you can have it whenever you want. So, but the miracle happens that no doer, no process of doing, and not anything which is to be done for, to be done by. So everything merges into one totality, and this is the best way. This is the ultimate way. This is the ultimate way. One becomes absolutely, when it starts living life absolutely with absolute. And when one is aligned with the absolute, living in the absolute, living for the absolute, so that what happens? Whatever you desire, it is fulfilled. The whole nature starts, helping that thought, and everything merges from that totality, and it becomes eternity if one realizes it. If one doesn't realize it, it is mortal, it vanishes after a few times. But when one realizes it, one starts living with that all the time, with that totality, then one becomes invincible, one becomes enlightened, one becomes immortal in a way. Because that consciousness, body decays, but that consciousness never decays, So when that rests in the peace, in totality, then one becomes the totality. So whatever we say, Ekoham Bhusami, that is the one which multiplied itself into many. Braso Vaisa, Aham Brahmasmi, whatever, Ekokar, Satna, whatever you say, that is the ultimate totality. One becomes that by this process. So this is the third way. One becomes invincible, and nothing can affect that person. One lives in Swa, and that is Swasth. When one starts living with Swa, with the self, what is that self? Your taste, your choices, your liking. So when you start living life absolutely with that aligned consciousness, with that supreme, ultimate unity consciousness, then something wonderful happens, that whatever you desire, you don't desire anything which is less than totality, right? So this is something wonderful happens. That's why all desires disappear, all lust disappear, right? All man, buddhi, chitta, ahankar, kriya, siddhi, everything merges into that totality. So then one starts living life of not doing something, but being with that totality. And that is something wonderful. And that is the ultimate way of living perfect, eternal, holistic, harmonious, swastha life, happy, healthy life, with physical health, mental peace, and spiritual evolvement all the time. So this is wonderful. Everything must go through it. And this is something wonderful. And that is the company, ultimate company of your own self. One should start living, and that is the ultimate best company. So when you start living with this company, then all irrelevant that is left, that is naturally, automatically left. You don't have to leave it. Everything is left automatically, because nothing is left, because you become totality, and everything is there with you all the time. But the only thing is that now you are conscious, aware of everything, and you live life holistically, holistic life with absolute bliss. There is nothing negative there because you become the whole, everybody is your part. So that absolute kshama, forgiveness, absolute peace, shanti happens, and as a result, one starts living life with ananda, that bliss which is eternal, ultimate, and that is the best company one should follow. And then all other which is not desired, those companies are left behind, naturally, very naturally, without any effort. So this is the company one should avoid, and this is the company one should always try to achieve, attain that level of consciousness, that alignment with that totality. So then you get the best company of your swa. And when you live that, you live totality, universality, and that makes you immortal, invincible, happy, blissful, eternal being. That is something wonderful. Very good. And the ultimate bliss. Living life with ultimate bliss. Because that is the ultimate company which creates bliss, which makes you in bliss, and one starts living with absolute bliss.